Hi, this is Shannon. This is Cycle 2, Week 11, Tutor and Memory Work Ideas. I'm excited to share with you some fun ideas you can use as a tutor or at home or both as you teach your kids the memory work this week. If you are new to my channel, I am a homeschooling mom of 3 little kids, 6, 4, and 2, and we do classical homeschooling. This is our 4th year doing it, and we love it, and I get to tutor the abecedarians, so that's the 4 through 6-year-olds, so the younger kids. So these ideas are with them in mind, but you can definitely use them with older kids or adjust them a little bit too. Before we jump into the tutor ideas, I want to share with you my brand new review activity book. So many of you have used the Cycle 2 Memory Work activity book this year. This one reviews the material from weeks 1 through 12, so the first semester material. And I'm really excited about it because it reviews it, but also connects concepts and just goes deeper into the material. So it's a great way for your kids to just understand it better. So for example, in geography, there's a page with the peninsulas and mountains, and the kids can use the sticker sheet. You can either cut these out or print these on labels, and they can find the matching stickers which show them what the mountains actually look like. Here's an example history page where the kids can circle what's true about each of these rulers, and then I've also included timeline in this activity book, so I'm really excited about that. They can find the different stickers that match with the timeline events here. And then there's pages for science and Latin and English and math, so all the memory work, all 7 subjects, again for all 12 weeks, so first semester. This is now available in physical and digital form, so check it out if you're interested in using it with your kids. This would be great to use over Thanksgiving, Christmas break to review the material they've learned so far, or anytime really that you want to review with your kids. So I will link below where you can check that out. Also, be sure to stick around to the end of my video. I have a fun moon phase game and the Latin bingo game I've mentioned that you can download for free and use with your kids this week to review that memory work. So I will explain more about those at the end and where you can grab them. For geography this week, we are learning about Europe and Asia. So I have my map here, my Trivium table map from the Classical Conversations bookstore, or you can just laminate the Sandbox e-Zine maps that you can find in CC Connected. But I like to outline the locations for the kids beforehand since I have the younger kids. So I have Siberia outlined in red, Russia in orange, Moscow in purple, Ukraine in green, and Kiev in blue. So what I will do this week is I found these cute little cars at Target. They were like party favors at Target, so pretty cheap to get a bag of them. And I'm going to give each kid a little car, and we're going to take a road trip to these places. So first, I'm just going to have them repeat the name of each one to me. So Siberia, Russia, Moscow, Ukraine, and Kiev. And then I'm going to teach them a song to the tune This Little Light of Mine. So it goes like this. Europe and Asia, Moscow, Kiev, Russia, Siberia, Ukraine. Europe and Asia, Moscow, Kiev, Russia, Siberia, Ukraine. So one thing I also like to do is have them erase certain places and we review them as I say, erase Moscow. Where was that again? What color dot was that? The purple dot. Let's erase the purple dot. Moscow. And what country is Moscow in? It's in Russia. So let's erase the outline of Russia. And then let's find Ukraine. What color was that? That's just a good way to help them hear it again. And then once everything's erased, and they can erase with their finger if you use dry erase marker, then you can sing the song again and see if they can follow along without the places outlined. So that is geography this week. For English this week, we are learning the indefinite pronouns, or the first few indefinite pronouns. And so what I will do is we are going to continue our song to the tune Here We Go Looby Loo with our little motions that we've been doing. I have a whole video of all the pronouns to this tune with the hand motions that I use. I will link it below if you want to see the whole thing. But first, I like to just introduce this week's pronouns to the kids. So I'll have them written on my tutor board, and I'll say, we're going to start with all, another, any, anybody, anyone, anything, both, each and either. We'll go through each of those, and then I'll tell them that we're going to go back to our little sway to the left and sway to the right as we sing them. So then we'll just sing just these first. So it goes like this. Indefinite pronouns, all, another, any, anybody, anyone, anything, both, each, either. So I'll have them sing that with me. Then we'll start at the very beginning of our song and sing from nominative pronouns all through this week's indefinite pronouns. So I'll sing it now for you, but I will link below the whole song so you can see it too. So it goes like this. Nominative pronouns, I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. Nominative pronouns, objective pronouns, me, you, him, her, it, us, you, them. Objective pronouns, possessive pronouns, mine, yours, his, hers, its, ours, yours, theirs, possessive pronouns. And then we shake our left foot, so pretend this is my left foot. Possessive pronoun, adjectives, then my right foot. My, your, his, her, its, our, your, their. Reflexive pronouns, myself, yourself, himself, herself, itself, ourselves, yourselves, themselves. Then we're going to shake our left hand. So interrogative pronouns, who, whom, whose, which, what. Demonstrative pronouns, this, that, these, those. Indefinite pronouns, all, another, any, anybody, anyone, anything, both, each, either. So we'll do that all together, and we've done it every week since week 4. So the kids are really good with it now and can sing it pretty easily. When you do it every week like that, they get really good at it. So that is English this week. For our timeline this week, we are going to play a little game called Pass the Card as we sing the song together. So I have my timeline cards with my dollar store letters on them. I like to use these letters just to help the younger kids who can't necessarily read yet. So it just helps them identify what card is what. I put the first letter of each event on the cards, and I get these cards from the Classical Conversations bookstore. I highly recommend them. We use them at home too, so I feel like they're very worth it. But what we will do is we will sit in a circle, and we are just going to sing this week's part of the timeline song together. And so what I'll do is I'll give the first card to one of the children, and they'll start, and they will pass it to the left as we sing the song to a different child. And they'll just keep passing the card as we sing. And since we're just singing this week's part of the timeline song, it goes pretty quick. So the tune to this week's part goes like this. We'll start with Norman Conquest. So it goes, Norman Conquest and feudalism in Europe. So they'll be passing the Crusades, Zimbabwe, and early Mali in Africa, Aztecs of Mesoamerica, Francis of Assisi and Thomas Aquinas, Japan shoguns, Incas of South America. And whoever ends up with the card gets to go put it on the wall. So I'll have my 7 pieces of painter's tape up on the wall. I do that before our class time starts. And they'll put this card in the first position. Then we'll all go over the motion for this. So Norman Conquest and feudalism in Europe, we'll make an N with our hand like this and go conquest, and then feudalism in Europe like that. So we'll all do that together. Then I will give the next card to a different child, and we'll do the exact same thing again. And I'll try to make it so a different child gets to put it up on the wall each time. But we'll do that for all 7 cards, and we'll go over all 7 motions. And then when all 7 cards are on the wall, we'll go stand up in front of the timeline cards and just sing the whole part of the timeline song and do the motions together. So the motions for this week are like this. I already showed you Norman Conquest, but so we make an N, put our thumb in the middle, Norman Conquest and feudalism in Europe. And then the Crusades, we're going to make a cross and go out like this, the Crusades. And then Zimbabwe, we're going to make a wall. So Zimbabwe, and then we're going to put 3 fingers over our thumb for early Mali in Africa. Just kind of go around our face, the shape of Africa, like that. So Zimbabwe, early Mali in Africa. And then Aztecs of Mesoamerica, we're going to make a pyramid like this. Aztecs of Mesoamerica. And then Francis of Assisi, we're going to make an F, so 3 fingers up and our two fingers, our thumb and our pointer finger together. Francis of Assisi and Thomas Aquinas. We're going to put our thumb up between our pointer and our middle finger. So Francis of Assisi and Thomas Aquinas. Then Japan shoguns, we're going to like reach for our sword down at our waist and go like that, like taking our sword out. Japan shoguns, and then Incas of South America, we're just going to make little mountains like that. Incas of South America. So that is timeline this week. For math this week, we are skip counting the cubes. And so you can see I'm standing because first I'm going to show the kids the cubes on my tutor board and teach them the song we sing them to. So it goes to the Battle Hymn of the Republic, and I'll sing it in a second. But after I sing it through one time for them, then I'm going to have everybody get up and we're all going to squat as low as we can to the floor. And as we skip count the cubes, we're going to get higher and higher and higher and higher. We're like rockets. We're getting ready to blast off. And then when we get to the last two numbers, we're going to get so high. And then the last one, we're going to blast off to outer space. The hymn goes like this. And so again, I'm not going to squat all the way down or you won't be able to see me, but imagine starting out as low as you can and steadily getting higher as we sing. It goes like this. 1, 8, 27, 64, 125, 216, 343, 512, 729, 1000, 1331, 1728, 2197, 2744, 3375, and then blast off. So we'll do that a few times, and that is math this week. For history this week, we are learning about the French Revolution. I will have the history sentence written on my tutor board, and I will first sing it to the kids and encourage them to follow along if they can read. And then I'm going to do my silly words game again, where I'm going to throw some silly words in. And if they hear a silly word, they can raise their hand and tell me what they hear. So the normal song sounds like this. In 1789, the French Revolution began when citizens stormed the Bastille and fought for the declaration of the rights of man. Later, during the reign of terror, the aristocrats' heads were removed by the guillotine. So then I'll say, okay, now that you've heard it normally, I'm going to throw some silly words in, and if you hear a silly word, raise your hand and tell me what it is and what it should be. So I'll start out like this. In 1789, the French Restoration began. Restoration? No. Oh, revolution. Okay, so then I go back to the beginning of the song and I sing it correctly until the next silly word. In 1789, the French Revolution began when citizens stormed the bakery and fought. Bakery? No, it should be, Bastille. Oh, okay. So then again, I go back to the beginning and sing it until the next silly word. So one of the reasons I really like this is they're hearing the history sentence correctly a lot because I'm singing it correctly until the next silly word each time. So the silly words I use this week are restoration instead of revolution, bakery instead of Bastille, marshmallows instead of man for rights of man, tacos instead of terror, hats instead of heads, spaghetti machine instead of guillotine. That is history this week. For science this week, we are learning about the phases of the moon, and we are going to sing a song to the tune Itsy Bitsy Spider to help us remember these. We're also going to do some fun hand motions to give kind of a visual of each phase. So for new moon, we are going to crouch down really small and hide our face like we can't see. So new moon, and then crescent moon, we're going to curve one arm over our head like a C. Crescent moon. Quarter, we're going to stand up and put our right hand and right leg out, just like half of us out like that. So quarter. Gibbous, we're going to kind of make a big belly like that for gibbous. And then full moon, we're going to make a big circle over our head like that. So we're going to sing our song and do our hand motions to the song as we sing. So it goes like this. What are the phases of the moon? New, crescent, quarter, gibbous, and full. What are the phases of the moon? New, crescent, quarter, gibbous, and full. Then with this, after we sing it a few times, I like to have the kids take turns choosing a phase of the moon to do the hand motion for, but they don't say anything, and the rest of us try to guess which phase of the moon they're talking about. So they might do this, and we're like, oh, gibbous, and then another kid might do this, and we're like, oh, new. So it's just fun and another way to review the different phases. That is science this week. For Latin this week, we are going to play a little beanbag or dice or ball toss, whatever you have. I have this little dice right here, and I have these cards with the different Latin endings on them. We are doing future perfect endings this week, so we've got arrow, eris, erit, aramis, eritis, errant. So I'm going to just spread these out on the floor and make a line with painter's tape that we have to stand behind. And I'm going to let the kids rotate, just kind of throwing this dice, or a beanbag I feel like would work the best, but I couldn't find one. I know there's one somewhere in my house. I'm going to keep looking for it, but anything would work if you have something. I wouldn't do a ball because it'll just bounce around, but something like this or a beanbag would work really well. And have the kids just try to pick one and see like which one they can toss it closest to. Then we all say the one that it's closest to. So if they tossed it closest to Aramis, we would all say Aramis, and then another kid gets to go. And you can also do the Latin song up to the one that they tossed it to. So like if they tossed it closest to Aramis, you could sing arrow, eris, erit, Aramis, and then stop there. And then the next kid goes. So then you're singing it a lot of times. That is Latin this week. For review this week, we're going to play a game called Invisible Man or Woman. I'm going to draw a stick figure of a man and a woman. Super simple. I'm just going to draw some features on each one. So the first one I'm going to call Captain Wiggly Arms. So I'm going to make him have wiggly arms and maybe a hat and maybe shoes and a belt, buttons, things like that. Just some noticeable things that make him unique. And then for the woman, I'm going to call her Lady Glitter Socks. So she'll definitely have some sparkly socks, and she'll have a necklace and glasses, things like that, some longer hair. And I will ask the kids a question, and whoever can raise their hand and answer gets to come up and erase part of one of the invisible people. And the goal is to see how fast we can make one of them disappear and become invisible. Like I promised, I want to show you the games I made that you can play with your kids this week to practice the memory work. So the first one is a Go Fish moon phase game. So I've got some cards that have the different phases, like first quarter, full moon, and then on the back, they describe the phase and show kind of where the moon is in relation to the earth and the sun. So I have 4 of each phase printed out, and we'll just play the classic Go Fish game. So I'll mix them up, divvy out 5 to 7 cards to each player. So for example, they might say, do you have waning crescent? Say, oh yes. So then you give them the card that they have, and you play till the cards are gone, and you see who has the most sets of 4. And then the next game, I've shown you this before, Latin bingo. So this has all the Latin noun endings for the whole year. And there's several different bingo boards, so great way to review all the Latin endings. So I have in the description below where you can download these games for free. I hope you enjoy playing them with your kids if you desire to. If you are enjoying my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I post at least 1 video per week relating to tutor ideas, other homeschool things, sometimes healthy living, recipes we've been making, things like that. And follow me on Instagram. I like to post what I'm doing through my kids throughout the week and sometimes spontaneous resources I end up making. And check out my blog where I have my shop. I have that review activity book I told you about at the beginning of my video. Lots of other fun homeschool resources, and my free resource library too, where you can get tons of games that you can play each week with your child and other things. So thanks again for watching. Let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day.